Ricardo, we asked some questions, or we asked the fans to ask you some questions. And I want to start with an easy one. How are you doing at the moment?
I'm doing well. Enjoying my time.
Cool. And how are you feeling about the team and the club as a new coach?
Everything came very fast. And I needed to learn everything about Gnistan. I never have been working here or close by. I worked in Helsinki before, but I didn't know really details about the club. I just have been here once upon a time to see one game for Suomen Cup, maybe 1 or 2 seasons ago. Okay. So I knew the stadium, and this is interesting because I remember when I came, it captured my attention. All the supporters were close to the team. I really like the stand and the yellow and blue colors there, and people's noise, the support. Now I know it's true. Also, we can hear it on the bench. I remember that time, but I just came to see the game and I went home. Then at this moment, of course, I'm accelerating my learning about the club, about the players. I think I know quite a lot about everything because it's part of the job. But everything came very, very fast. Basically, I was taking sun in the beach with my girls, with my children, and suddenly I needed to come here, so it arrived very, very fast. Yeah.
Cool. Is your family here also?
No, not at the moment.
Yeah. About the training, how are you going to continue the training from here? Are you making any changes?
I have my way of working and my ideas about the way I want the team to play and the way I want to coach the team, and they are aware of it now, the players, and I think they understand easily how I work and how I think the process. I'm a process guy, so I put a lot of emphasis on the process. I don't believe results came because we have magic in our pockets. Results are the outcome of a certain process, and this is my focus. And since the beginning, I'm telling the players, I know you are losing games and so on, but put the focus on the things you can control, because this is what we can do. Otherwise, we start overthinking in the things we cannot control, because there are things that you can think about, but they are not important. So we need to find this small dot between these two circles, the things that really matter and the things that you can control. In this intersection, it's where you should focus on. This intersection point is our process, what we can do every time ourselves, what we can think about, how we can manage our emotions, how we can put the focus on the training session, how we can have a better life and better lifestyle that help us to recover faster, to be fitter for the games, and everything apart from this doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. When we lose games, doesn't matter. We need to put the focus on the things we can improve, we can fix for the team. And this is what we have been doing, but in a short time, of course. Luckily, we got a first entire week to prepare the team, last week, because when I arrived, I had 2 days to know the players and to play a game against Mikkeli. It was really tough. Of course, I counted with the help of the staff members that shared their thoughts about players and the conditions that we had to prepare the team, but everything came very, very fast. Basically, we had 2 sessions in the pitch with the players that were still recovering from the last game, and we started implementing some basic defending organization. That it went okay for 2 sessions, but with a lot of limitations. And now, I think in this last game we could show something, very little yet, but something about what can Gnistan still become this season. And I really believe that we are going to improve quite a lot until the end of the season. If it will be translated in points, I believe so. But again, what I can control is the process.
Sounds reasonable. How do you think the recently signed new players will strengthen the team?
Of course, the signings we made are with this confidence they can help the team, otherwise we would not sign. But of course, sometimes we have surprises. But until my arrival, there were a couple of players that were signed before my arrival, like Manuel, for example. I think is a good signing as well. I was lucky to receive a new player when I arrived. I think he played only 1 game before. Then, after my arrival, we signed Koulibaly, a centre back. He has a very good education from Italy. He played in youth in Kiev. He played even one game in Serie A for Kiev Verona. And defending-wise, is quite secure option. Of course, he has some learning points he needs to improve. He's aware of it. We are speaking and working the pitch for it. But yeah, I believe he can help it. And we scored the winning goal last game. It's not his job, but he can do it as well because he's really good in the air. We signed also Douglas Caé, Brazilian striker. I proposed him to the board because I know him very well. I worked with him for a season in VPS and Recozinga, and I really know what he can bring to the team. So he's a striker that it's not easy to find because he's that striker that can hold the ball even if he's surrounded by defenders, so the team can go up and start playing. And then in the box, especially in the air, is quite lethal. So we can score a couple of goals, and we need goals, of course, to win games and to win points. Yeah. So at the moment, this is whole in terms of signings. But look, I don't believe we need really very much signings, to be honest. The squad is big. We had more than 30 players when I arrived. Of course, some were still injured. Some of them are still injured. Some of them are coming back from injuries, like Jesse, who played the last game since the beginning. It was his first game with me. He was injured. He came back and is now making the first steps. And I need to say that for the first game, his performance was quite good after an injury. But we need to take it easier because we know by experience that if we put too much pressure on a certain player when he is coming back from an injury or too much playing time, it can compromise his complete recovery and the mid-term performance. And we want Jesse and all the others that are coming from injuries for the rest of the season and not for 1 or 2 games. So, but just to finish this, I think the squad has quality enough to, with 2-3 signings, to close it and put the focus on the process. This is what we need to do. We don't need so many players to change the situation where we are. And I think the people that have been in the last game can sense this. We have quality players that can do and can bring more to the team, and I think they are bringing it now.
What does interaction mean to you when it comes to football?
Interaction is at the core of the process. We are these human beings that in some way have been educated that every person is independently from the others in some way, but we all know the boundaries are not so strict. Even the boundaries of our skin are not so strict. We know that we exchange something with the environment, and we are also receiving something from the environment that affects how we behave. And the same happens in the game. So my process put emphasis on the interaction. Maybe the question comes from someone that knows something already about the way I think the process. So the interaction is at the core of our process. What we do every day is to learn how to synchronize and how to interact with the others. So basically the teammates in the pitch, in different game scenarios, in different game situations. So we try to go through all the possibilities, all the let's say the big scenarios we can find in the game. Of course, we have our own ideas how we want to play in every of these scenarios, but this is only the departing point. The coach idea is only the departing point. Then we need to design the proper exercises for them to find out in the pitch how they need to interact with the others. So maybe I think the purpose of the question was that one.
Yeah. Then there is a question about formations. What part do triangle formations have in today's football? Is it old-fashioned or thinkable or essential?
Triangles, they are maybe, if we think about the formation, we can think about the formation as the static part or the structural part, and the functional part or the dynamic part. Let's say the triangles can help us to explain the structural part, or let's say we can look into the triangles in a static way. So if we create a formation, we are going to see some triangles, interactions close by each other. But we know that there are no teams that play with such rigid formation during the whole game. So at a certain point, you need to understand these triangles more in a functional way, in a dynamic way, because the players are moving in the pitch.
Of course.
But you can use some kind of basic rules of thumb for the players to keep the balance of the formation, even though they are moving in the space. And when one player, maybe I can give you an example here.
Of course.
If we think about this triangle, for instance, a centre back holding midfielder and a fullback. When this player goes higher, for instance, one way to keep this compensation is, for instance, by dropping this. But this requires someone else to come to keep this triangle stable as well. So we can depart from the static notion of triangles, but then we need to understand there is a certain intrinsic dynamics among those triangles, because this is what the players do. And basically, I think thinking about triangles is not so old-fashioned if we think about the dynamic side of the triangles. If we only speak about these rigid structures, small structures in the formation, that maybe I can accept it can be a bit old-fashioned, but at least in the way I see it.
I understand. Then here's a question: how do you use your spare time? And the person who asked this question says that watching football is not accepted as an answer.
To be honest, I don't see so many games.
Okay.
I'm quite selective with the games I see. I know that there is people and there are other coaches who really see many games and many leagues. I'm a bit selective on the games I see, and I have like two kind of modes, and I can switch from one to the other. Okay. I can see a football game like a fan, just relaxing on the sofa and following the aesthetics of the game, or I can see it in a professional way, so like I do for my team. But about spare time, I have difficulties at this moment. At this moment, I have no spare time at all, and I don't think I'm going to have until the end of October because we have a quick run of games coming. But when I have time, I really like to enjoy my family moments because I'm father of 3 girls. And this is a big part of my life. I don't know if this is spare time too.
I think it is.
Taking care of the child. But I like to travel a lot. It's something I really like. I like to go to the beach because I'm Portuguese citizen. It's normal there. Yeah, I think a good book is also good. Yeah.
There's the last question left, and it was, who's your all-time favorite Portuguese player, football player?
Okay, when I was young, the best ever was Eusébio, and my father played with Eusébio in the military tournaments, and so it was something very important in our home, in our family as well. And yeah, he was considered one of the best players ever, not only in Portugal, but worldwide. Then, of course, nowadays Ronaldo is maybe the biggest ever in Portugal. But I don't think nobody will make a dispute between Eusébio and Ronaldo because they are two completely different generations and they are both so big they don't need to have one over the other. There is another player who was really on the top worldwide, Luís Figo. He was also the best player in 2001, if I'm not wrong, the Ballon d'Or from France Football. And there is another one that maybe not many people knows or remembers about, Paulo Futre. Paulo Futre was a fantastic player in the 80s, beginning of 90s. He won what is now Champions League in 87 with Porto. First time Porto won a trophy like this. Then he moved to Atletico Madrid, and he was maybe the best player in the league in his time. And we had no Bosman law in that time, so players didn't move so much like nowadays. We had like this 3 foreigners rule. So he did a fantastic career there in Atletico Madrid, and even nowadays he's considered the Portuguese. They call him in Madrid the Portuguese. So he's the one. And maybe you know Atletico Madrid is the club in Spain with more support from people, with more fans. Yeah, he was really good. I remember when he played in our national team in the 80s, it was something like Paulo Futre and 10 else Plus, he was really the best player. To my understanding, one of the best players I ever seen playing football. Really. And I think in the future we are going to hear something about Bernardo Silva more and more, because he's really a good player, and João Felix maybe is one coming next, because he's a really talented player. Let's see what he can do. I think I spoke about many, not only one. Sorry about that.
It's hard to choose one,
Yeah.
but I understand. Well, that's all the questions. I'll thank you for the interview.
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions from the fans, and we need really everybody in the same boat until the end of the season.
Thank you very much.